Over the many hundred episodes of Naruto, there were many jutsus used, and while some were really cool and really powerful, some of those really cool and really powerful jutsus didn't really do much. And even more importantly, didn't do nearly as much as they should have done. So, this is kind of a part 2. You guys wanted 10 more OP jutsus that didn't accomplish enough, and if you didn't see my original vid of my original 10 jutsus, feel free to see it at the end, because quite frankly, you don't need to watch the first one to watch this one. Also, this is my second NUX RANTS video after the original 10 OP jutsus that didn't accomplish anything, so I'm still looking to touch up the style. If you have any way to, help out, feel free to let me know. In any case, let's talk shit on some Naruto. So, trigger warning and whatever. Anywho, number 1, since there's no particular order, is particle style. Remember that jutsu that Tsuchi Kage, I'm pretty sure his name was Flitwick, decided, swish and flick, I have new jutsu that can destroy everything. It can dismantle things and people to an atomic level, and it's some sort of crazy Kekai Genkai that not only mixes 2 chakra natures, but 3. It's the only one of its kind that was shown in the anime, so naturally it had to do big things, right? I don't hear anyone. Why is no one saying right? Well, that's probably because it didn't do crap. Not in the war, not in anything we've seen before, and we haven't seen anyone else use it. I got a lot of comments in my last one to talk about particle style, and quite frankly, there isn't a lot to talk about. You have this crazy freaking jutsu that just didn't manage to get anything done at all. Zip. I don't know why this wouldn't atomically dismantle a freaking Susanoo. I don't know. We didn't learn anything about this aside from the fact that you flick it at someone and he turns into dust. Literal dust. Anyway, you guys wanted me to talk about it, and quite frankly, I don't disagree with you that I should have. So let's move on to something more me. Fire style. So a lot of people are gonna get all jumpy and whatever, but guys, let me teach you something about anime. Fire doesn't burn crap. This is a big rule. Have you ever seen fire style do anything in the entire show? Fire, in case you do not know, is actually dangerous. If you put your hand in fire, your hand will feel freaking terrible. I know this from experience, as do many of you. And despite all the fire styles we see, and people bursting through flames, or dodging flames, or whatever, fire style has never actually beaten anyone. Fire style is very broad, encompassing a couple billion jutsu, but let me tell you a major difference between fire style and every other style we've seen. Earth can injure someone without mortally injuring someone, as can water, as can wind. Lightning somehow doesn't kill everyone. I don't know. The Pokemon effect happens and people just don't die. But at least, you have your lightning blade. You have Dwayne Johnson, the 4th Reich Kage, and quite frankly, he's pretty much a beast. You don't have any useful fire style. Not a single jutsu from this broad spectrum of jutsu have actually burnt anyone or done anything. I ask you, please, in the comments, tell me if I'm wrong, because fire style, unlike water style, can't hit someone, actually do damage, but not do crazy damage, and therefore, it never does any damage, because since there's no middle of the road, it just never happens. Fire style's freaking cute. It's not only Naruto that has this problem. Fire in anime doesn't do anything. Look at Todoroki from My Hero Academia. He blasts flames everywhere. I didn't see it do crap to Stain, and the only time Endeavor's flames actually did something when it was high pressure directly at someone's head and it actually killed him. Again, no middle of the road burns, and that's because he kind of had to kill that bad guy. Again, you look at Byakugou and his explosions. His explosions don't do anything. He was fighting Uraraka. He blew her to bits like a million times. She didn't get a freaking burn. Anyway, this is not ranting on My Hero Academia. This is ranting on Naruto. So, fire style, freaking useless. Let's move on to Sasori, a member of the Akatsuki. But Nux, Sasori isn't a jutsu? Well, hell, Sasori is basically a jutsu. Okay, aside from the Puppet Master jutsu, he also has a crazy Kekai Genkai that can use the crazy Kekai Genkais of people he kills and turns into human puppets. For example, the 3rd Kaze Kage, aka Lord Magneto-sama. And this bastard had the lore to be the strongest of the Kaze Kage. Why did he lose to Sakura? Whatever. Anyway, it's probably because there were another 14 forms Sasori had to unveil, like his ultimate blow hydro pressure form, which seemed to be pretty dangerous and they had to run away from. Or his shoot fire form, which, well, it was fire and it's an anime, so we already got down that fire wasn't gonna do anything. But in any case, he was a very pivotal member in Shippuden. I mean, this guy was doing the whole Kabuto double agent crap and was the baseline for an entire arc where Naruto, Sakura, Sai, and Yamato went to find Orochimaru and whatever, and he wasn't even around there. Quite frankly, Sasori did nothing in the entire series, and he had a million crazy jutsu, not to mention his controlling 1,000 puppet jutsu, which was supposed to have taken down a nation, yet didn't do crap against Sakura and the old lady. I don't know, quite frankly, I feel like he was a wasted character. Really wasted. So were all these really interesting and developed jutsus and abilities that just didn't amount to anything. On to the Byakugan and the Gentle Fist. Oh boy. Do I have a bone to pick with that? In early Naruto, it pretty much says straight out, the Byakugan is better than the Sharingan. And then they change their mind to say, the Byakugan is just as good as the Sharingan. And then by the end of Naruto, you realize, yeah, that was total BS because, while Byakugan guys can see backwards, Sharingan guys can drop meteors. Yeah, slight difference in power there. In any case, as we know, the Byakugan was wasted totally. Even Kaguya's Byakugan didn't really have crazy Byakugan powers that we could see what a fully awakened Byakugan could do. I'm sure it'll do something in Boruto because quite frankly, they're gonna need, you know, the Uzumaki Emoto to actually do something great. But in all of Naruto and Shippuden, the Byakugan was less than useless. It didn't do anything, let alone the Gentle Fist, which is known as the craziest taijutsu ever. You poke the guy's chakra points and it's an Omaiwamu Shinderu moment. Everyone goes nani and kablooey. But no, it didn't do that to anyone aside from Spider Guy in the beginning. I feel like out of all the dojutsu we've seen, Byakugan was really pathetic, wasn't it? I don't know. You let me know if I'm wrong again, because I'm gonna make a recap video on how you guys try to befuddle my arguments and how I will try to defend myself if I can. I already have one recorded for my last 10 overpowered jutsu list. I don't know if it's edited yet or not, so I don't know if it hit the channel yet, but I am listening to your comments, guys, trust me. But as far as the Byakugan and Gentle Fist, I don't know how you're gonna sway me. They talk about, whoa, Gentle Fist is like the greatest taijutsu ever, and then you see Might Guy unleash a freaking dragon on Madara, who was at that point the strongest ninja alive, and it fucking molests the bastard. I mean, Mega Madara didn't stand a goddamn chance against Guy's taijutsu. Oh, but the Gentle Fist, that's like the best taijutsu ever. Oh, go shove a jubi up your asshole. No, it ain't. The next jutsu I would like to talk about on this list was the Byakugou seal, particularly Sakura's Byakugou seal. You know, the thing that she unleashes in the final battle to become freaking Kage level awesomeness, but doesn't use ever before. We don't know why, but she decides not to. For example, moments that come to mind that she could have possibly decided was a good idea, I don't know, against Sasori, where she shouldn't have won, and she only won because, as Chio mentioned, Sasori let himself die. Byakugou seal would have roasted his ass. Okay, that was one. Two, Pain attacks the Leaf Village, and Sakura's like, oh no, let's let everyone die, instead of just opening the Byakugou seal. And I'm not saying she would have been as powerful as Pain. Pain was a pretty freaking powerful dude, but then again, there were a lot of powerful ninja in the Leaf Village at that point, and Sakura, you know, that would have helped a little bit. I do get into that on my honest descriptions on the Konoha 11. Again, I don't know which one will hit the channel first. Depends on the editor. But yeah, Sakura had the Byakugou seal ever since the break between Naruto and Shippuden, which, BT dubs, was many episodes ago. And she could have used this many times. Not as some big reveal at the end that left us thinking, wow, Sakura, we always knew you were useless. We just didn't know you were a dumb fuck. We just thought you were weak. And I'd rather be weak than be a Sakura. The next thing I'd like to talk about is Kakashi's kamui. Yes, Kakashi's kamui, because as we know, there's two parts to kamui. There's Obito's, which lets himself become unfazable, and then there's Kakashi, which phases everything he looks at. I personally would prefer Obito's, but as far as a destructive force, Kakashi's is crazy powerful and underused. The first time we saw this used was against Deidara, and it was amazing that he used it against Deidara. So I'm not going to talk about any time before that, because I assume he couldn't use it before that, or else he probably would have. Let's talk after that. After that, he fought Kakuzu and Hidan. By the way, this single jutsu would have been able to kill Kakuzu or Hidan. You know how those two guys are both immortal for whatever ass-pull plot reason? Well, that doesn't matter, because if you look at his head and warp it into oblivion, there will be no more Kakuzu or Hidan. Oh, but Kakashi was a little bit tired. He didn't have the energy. Oh, please. He had the energy. Even if he was a little bit tired, he could have squeezed out one freaking kamui. Give me a break. Let's let's not forget that he was spamming kamui over the entire war arc. And when he was fighting Pain, instead of just warping away that one pain spike thing, he could have warped away Pain. As we see, he can warp away entire people. I don't know why this wasn't a thing either. He warped away Naruto into that other dimension or whatever. There are people that he can warp. You just look at a guy and the guy is no more. That's a thing. And I know I didn't want to mention anything before Shippuden because he never exhibited the ability to use this power, but he unlocked the mangekyou sharingan when he killed Rin, which was technically a long freaking time ago. So he should have been able to use this at least once over his lifetime, like the first time he fought Zabuza, which was a long time ago, or when he saw Orochimaru, or anything like that. But in any case, I want to move on already because I want to talk about Shisui's koatumatsukami, a jutsu that I mispronounced on purpose as a joke in my last video, but still got hate for it. By the way, I love you guys. But in the last video, I talked about Danzo's koatumatsukami and how he misused it. In this video, I'd like to focus on Shisui's koatumatsukami and how he misused it. I'm not getting into the plethora of plot holes regarding Shisui, like for example, how each individual sharingan is supposed to have their own power, like Sasuke's one having two Kiyomi, one having amaterasu, or the two kamuis being different for each eyeball, or how Shisui managed to use a Susanoo, even though that is supposed to use two eyeballs together, but he only had one eyeball at that point. Not talking about any of that. If you want to answer that, feel free to let me know in the comments because I am curious, but for now I want to focus on his use or misuse of the koatumatsukami. People, I don't understand. If he had two eyeballs with the strongest genjutsu ever that he can use from any distance on anyone where they don't even necessarily know they're in a genjutsu, why did Danzo beat him? Why couldn't he use a koatumatsukami on Danzo? Why didn't that cross his mind? I don't know, but it didn't. Or after he was so surprised by Danzo's betrayal, oh no, and he managed to get away with one eyeball remaining that he gave to Itachi, why didn't he, before he gave it to Itachi, use the koatumatsukami? Look, again, I may be overlooking something. Feel free to let me know in the comments, as I'm sure you will anyway, but I feel like since Shisui had unlimited use of the koatumatsukami, unlike anyone else who gets their hands on it without Hashirama cells, I don't know why he didn't think it would have been a decent idea to use it on anyone, on freaking anyone. It would have made the whole Uchiha coup a non-entity, just like how he wanted to use it, but Danzo said no, and he didn't just use it on Danzo, or even use it on the third Hokage to stop Danzo. There were many options here that could be done with an unstoppable, infinitely ranged genjutsu. Moving on, Sage Mode for everyone aside from Naruto, especially Minato. It's a well-known plot hole that Minato pops out of the Edo Tensei and he's like, guys, good news, I know I didn't use this when the village was under attack and I lost my life and my wife's life and whatever, and this could have possibly stopped the entire series before it began, but I actually can use Sage Mode, and well, I'm not actually that good at it, which is why I decided not to do it before, he says right after he bursts out a perfect Sage that he didn't need to fuse with freaking Toad guys to use, unlike Jiraya, who needed to fuse with Toad guys. Minato's a perfect Sage, and he could have used it back then. This is a well-known plot hole, but aside from that, no one thinks it's a good idea to use Sage Mode. This was kind of a major plot point at the end of the series, that half the ninjas in the final fight were only affected by either Taijutsu or Senjutsu, and no one uses Senjutsus. Freaking Kabuto uses Senjutsu. I don't know why Slug Senjutsu wasn't taught to, for example, Sakura, or the third Hokage having some sort of monkey freaking Sage Mode. It would have made him seem a lot more of a powerful ninja than he did, because quite frankly, from what we've seen, aside from other people hyping him and whatever, he was a pretty crappy ninja. He was able to use Fire Style and Roof Tile Shuriken. How lame does that sound? He needed to use a jutsu to throw shuriken. Most people just reach into their butt. But in any case, no one really learned Sage Mode, and it feels like it's a powerful game mechanic that was sort of not known about until Naruto age. Yeah, Kishimoto probably didn't think of Sage Mode until then, and that's why there were almost no one in history that actually was able to use Sage Mode. But this video isn't saying, well, Kishimoto, you're a dumbass, so I forgive you. No, that's not what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to nitpick just a little, so please allow my nitpicking. More people should have been able to use Sage Mode. It should have been a thing. And if you don't like that argument just because it's crazy hard to learn and it'll make you turn into a stone frog or whatever, you can convince yourself that I was only talking about Minato, which is 100% valid. Number 9, Jashin. You remember this bastard? He was the alleged god of Naruto, where Hidan praised him and becomes immortal. Immortal is a interesting point because it's something Orochimaru was seeking for the entire series, and it's something that's useful, to put it mildly, in battle. So, Mr. Hidan, if I were to ask you, how did you become immortal? You would say, I prayed to Jashin and I stabbed myself in the foot once a week. Okay, Mr. Hidan, I'm gonna do that. Seems pretty logical to me. While in our current world, proving God's existence is somewhat tricky, in Naruto universe, Jashin's God. I mean, this is basically a fact. He's immortal. He prays to this Jashin guy, he becomes immortal. That is not too hard to prove, fam. Everyone can do this. Orochimaru says, I will find immortality by turning myself into a snake demon and stealing bodies of children. Totally not for sexual pleasure. Then you have Hidan saying, nah, fam, don't worry, just pray to Jashin and you're good. And if Orochimaru would have done that, it would have made life a lot easier, because aside from Hidan, who had an issue because of his head was lopped off, he couldn't reconnectify it, Orochimaru somehow had that power. I don't want to get into details because I think this is almost an obvious point, up to the point that I don't know why there isn't a whole ninja village that follows this one religion and they're all immortal. I see that as a very viable possibility under the fact that this has weight to it. There is weight to this Jashin belief. We know that. Not only was this totally not stressed in the series at all, but the fact that there aren't millions of devout followers baffles me, because it freaking works. Number 10, which is not the last thing I'm going to talk about because some of these you may consider cop-outs, so I'll leave you a bonus, but the 10th thing I want to talk about is genjutsu. In the beginning of Naruto, Kakashi explains to Squad Fam, guys, there are 3 types of fighting. There is taijutsu, which is totally useless unless your name is Might Guy. There's ninjutsu, which is what everyone will use at the end game, farting out mountain exploding jutsus. And then there's genjutsu. I will not teach you about sage jutsu because Kishimoto did not know about that at this point in time. In any case, remember that genjutsu thing that I mentioned? This really cool, stealthy, ninja-like fighting technique where you can
teach you how to bewitch the mind and ensnare the senses.
Second I heard about these 3 fighting styles, I was so hyped for genjutsu because that is such a much more interesting style than just, I can fart out fireballs, what can you do? Well, I can piss waterfalls. Yeah, if I would have written Naruto, things would have gone a little bit differently. But genjutsu, which is a completely interesting thing that any ninja can learn, obviously you have to be naturally good at it, just like you can't use fire style unless you're naturally good at it. But the only genjutsus that are used are Kurenai, who gets wasted by another genjutsu user, and of course she doesn't do anything in Shippuden because she is a female shonen character. As I've mentioned several times, female shonen characters don't really do anything. But aside from the sexism, every other genjutsu used in the whole series is essentially sharingan based. Oh, but Shikamaru fought 2 sound guys that were able to use genjutsu. Yeah, well, they weren't very good, and they both fought Shikamaru, the genius that can outthink genjutsu. No genjutsu fights anyone else though, where it would actually be effective, unless it's a sharingan, because Sharingans do fucking everything in Naruto. This was a really interesting point that I feel like needed to be brought up, and that's why I'm doing a number 11, because I don't know if you'll count this, even though no one used genjutsu ever, and it could have been helpful, at least to some people, and at least for some things. The final thing I want to talk about is the transformation jutsu. On the last video, I ended up talking about the substitution jutsu as a bonus, because it's such a basic jutsu that just was freaking OP, even though no one used it. Go see that video for that one. But the transformation jutsu. The first question I'd like to pose is, what does it do? It's a simple question, I think. Most of us know it can make someone transform into something else. As we've seen as early as the fight of Naruto and Sasuke versus Zabuza, you can even turn into an object and then be thrown and be physically the shape of that object. Because as we know, the Demon Wind Shuriken Windmill of Shadows, which is a sick name, but since it was a shuriken, didn't do anything, because as we know, shuriken don't do anything. He flung a Naruto clone disguised as a shuriken, and it flew like a shuriken. So you physically change shape here. You're not just casting some sort of illusion that makes you look different. So if you physically change shape here, why is it that when someone grabs someone else, that someone else doesn't use a transformation jutsu? I don't even want to bring up specific cases here because I feel like this could have been used at least once in every single battle. Oh no, someone's punching me. Let's turn ourselves into a spiky piece of metal. Or, oh no, that guy's throwing shuriken or using any style of jutsu ever on me. Why don't I transform into something really durable, or fireproof, or waterproof, or rubber if you're scared of electric attacks? This is a really easy way to block a hell of a lot of jutsu and really come out well in every battle. I mean, no one can ever tie you up, put you in a headlock, or do the famous Orochimaru stretchy aroundy grabby wabby technique. And of course, that's everything I have for this list. Part 3 is not looking likely, I'll be quite honest with you. Let me know if you want more NUX rants altogether, because they are fun to make, and let me know how I can fix up this ranting style, since I'm a bit new to it. Please do me a favor and disprove as many of the things I said in this video in the comments below. I will try to make a second video answering your comments to the best of my ability. I may succeed or fail. I mean, depends how good you guys are. Feel free to check out my other Naruto content that I will link at the end. Like the video and subscribble for more shiz, whatever it may be. I try to do new things, so pardon me if this was a bit new and inexperienced. I be trying, fam. I love every single one of you. Have yourself a most wonderful evening, and I'll see you next time.